Welcome to Sherlock Tones 3. Whoops, sorry, wrong button.
Welcome to Sherlock Tones 3. That's better, more gravitas. In your quest to defeat Dr. Sharply Flat, you've learnt about semitones and tones. You have learnt that they always go in the same order to make a major scale. But now you have to work them out in 8 different keys. In the case of how many sharps?
So in today's video we are going to have to create 8 different major scales. I just want to correct some little things which have been going on with Sherlock Tones 2 in the work that I've seen so far. Number 1 is that lots of you for questions 4, 5 and 6 and 7 weren't quite going far enough. Say for example you need to go a tone up from this note here, E. You were just going straight to F. And there were some of you who were doing the question where it was a tone down from C. You were just going there. Remember that a tone is a semitone plus a semitone. So sometimes, because we haven't got a black note in between these 2 white notes, we have to go white to black. I'll show you. So 1 semitone plus another semitone equals a tone. If I held those 2 notes down, you can see I've got 1 spare flappy note in the middle. That makes it a tone. Now I keep using this word interval as well. Interval in music is the distance between 2 notes. The smallest possible one on the piano is a semitone. But we can also do much bigger intervals as well. We can go from here. That's an interval, it's the distance between 2 notes. So the easiest major scale to look at is C major, and it's written out here for you. That's because if you start on its root note, the tonic we call it, C, and play it on the piano, it's just white notes. There are no sharps or flats involved anywhere. And we get this order. T stands for tone, ST stands for semitone. We get tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. What you're going to have to do is come up with stuff like this, but there is an error here. If I check between these ones here, I get F to G, that's a tone, no problems. G to A, that's a tone, that's no problems. Here, A to B, that's not a semitone. And if I used these notes to play a famous piece in a major scale, it would sound wrong. All notes in C major, and we've rearranged them into this number order: 1 1 5 5 6 6 5 4 4 3 3 2 2 1. If we listen to this example, I have not corrected note number 4. This is what that diagram sounds like that I wrote out earlier on. We know that the distance between 3 and 4 needs to be a semitone, but I haven't done my corrections, and if I use F as my tonic for this particular example, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just doesn't sound right. So I need to make sure that note number 4 is definitely a semitone above note number 3. And in this example, I have got that done for you. I've got an A, there's note number 3, and A sharp is 1 semitone above A. So there is one really big error there. I've used A sharp. I need to use B flat instead. The reason being, if you're reading a lot of notes in a very big piece and you had to change between A sharp and A natural all the time, it would do your nut. What we do is we try and make sure that we only use one letter name in each scale, and then we correct it to make the sharp or flat. I'll show you what this means in a minute. So one of the things that you're going to do for me is only ever use the alphabet. So this is the same thing, but it's corrected, so you've got B flat. So this is when we add the necessary sharps or flats at the beginning of the line, so that every time that we see the note that corresponds with that line or space, in this case a B, we have to remember it's a B flat. That is a pain to learn when you are learning about reading music. However, once you get your head around it and your fingers up to speed with the instrument that you're playing, it makes things a lot easier to read. So this would sound exactly the same, but this is going to be a B flat. I'm just going to quickly remind you of the musical alphabet with this stupid video here.
We start on C, then we go to D, then we go to E, then we go to F, then we go to G, then we go to A, and then we go to D.
Here is our test example. We're starting on the tonic of F. We're calling note number 1 F. We use our alphabet. Next note in the musical alphabet is G. Next note after that is A. Next one is B. Then it's C. Then it's D. And then it's E. And then it's F. I would recommend you do that for every single one before you even think about sharps and flats. Add the alphabet for every single example. Okay, so even in this last one, I would go D, E, F, G, start again with the alphabet A, B, C. So that's job number 1. Job number 2, note number 8 must be exactly the same as note number 1. Let's have a look at some examples here. So this one here, E flat, that flat is the little b. I would add my alphabet, and then when I get to the end, I've arrived at an E. E's no good. It's not the same as E flat, which is in column number 1. So I just need to add the correct symbol. The next thing to do is to check every interval between each column. So that's indicated with these T's and STs. T is tone, ST is semitone, not Sherlock Tones. 1 to 2 needs to be a tone. You would have your picture of a keyboard, and I'll put one up in a minute for you to freeze if you don't have one to look at. And you need to check that if you held those 2 notes down, would you have a spare flappy note in the middle? And the answer would be yes. So you would leave G alone. G is fine. Then we go to G to A. The interval between notes 2 to 3 in a major scale needs to be a tone. You would hold G and A down. If you've got a spare flappy note in the middle, you would be fine. Then you would get to note number 3 to 4. It needs to be a semitone. If you held down A to B, you'd find out that's actually a whole tone. Now we arrived at A first, so A is fine. Don't work backwards. We know that the B is incorrect, so I need to make the correct note choice to make that a semitone. So B flat is correct. A sharp, like we discussed a minute ago, would sound right, but it would look wrong. I won't waste your time now. If I went all the way through this, B flat to C is correct, C to D is correct, D to E is correct, E to F is a semitone, is correct. And I haven't had to change column number 8. It's exactly the same as column number 1, therefore I know I've gone okay. You repeat that process for every single one. So here's how it works. Add the alphabet. Make sure that column 8 looks exactly the same as column number 1. So as you go through, you check each note for whether it's a tone or a semitone. I added the alphabet to this one earlier on. Let's check it. E flat to F is a tone. F to G is a tone, no problems. G to A, that's not a semitone. Now I could do this, but I've mixed my sharps and flats. That would not be correct. It would sound fine, but it would not be correct. I've also used the letter G twice, so I know that that's gone a bit squiffy. I need to substitute G sharp for the same note but with a different name. The enharmonic change is A flat. So you never mix sharps and flats. Sometimes if you held your notes down, you might find that it's quite a big distance between the two of them, like A flat to B. That's too big to be a tone. You're going to have to do something to B there to make it slightly smaller so that it's exactly a tone. Semitone plus semitone equals tone. So never mix sharps and flats. Even on this one down here, okay, I do not need any flats in that one. I'm definitely going wrong. I hope that's really useful for you. Thank you to everybody that's liked and subscribed. I hope you're enjoying the music that's going with all these examples. Stay safe during lockdown, and I will see you guys soon.